afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for today's Dragon 101 webinar. Just a few housekeeping items I want to cover before we get started. Due to the size of today's audience, audio is being broadcast through your computer speakers. Unfortunately, an audio bridge or teleconference is not available. Today's session is being recorded, and a link will be sent to everyone that signed up as soon as it's available. Typically, that's within 24 hours. Today's presentation will cover an overview of Dragon, a few of the key features in version 12, as well as a demonstration of the software. This presentation is meant to be a high-level look at speech recognition and how to use some of the features. It's not meant to be a training session for new users or a technical support session. If you do require training or need to contact technical support, we will provide some instructions towards the end of today's presentation. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Just a quick overview of our agenda for today. I know many of you are obviously familiar with Dragon speech recognition software, and it's the reason that you joined us today. But I wanted to take a step back and just talk to you a little bit about who Nuance Communications is as a company, the makers of the Dragon software. We'll obviously go through an introduction of Dragon, who uses Dragon and why they use Dragon, a couple of the key features that are new to Dragon 12. I'm joined with me today by Tom Dane, one of our senior sales engineers, and he's going to take you through a demonstration of the software. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how to get started, and that's where the technical support and some of our training options will come into play. So just a little bit about who Nuance Communication is as a company. Simply put, we advocate everything that's second nature by simplifying the way people interact with machines. We humanize technology so that doing your job and finding what you need feels natural and effortless. We invent technology that makes everyone easier to understand. And we convert burdensome tasks and workflows into seamless experiences. Many of you probably don't go a single day without interacting with some form of technology that is powered by a Nuance voice and natural language solution. Could be anything from a smartphone, a book reader, navigation system, television, or of course in this case, a desktop computer. You might have also encountered Nuance customer service assistant. Virtually every leading global consumer technology manufacturer has embraced Nuance as the gold standard for powering meaningful voice recognition and natural language interactions. And as you can see by the impressive list of companies here, we're trusted by those most prestigious companies. One of the best ways that we look to measure our growth is through the success of our customers. So a couple of the numbers here you can see, our cloud-based systems are now processing 5 billion mobile transactions annually. Our technology is deployed on over 6 billion mobile handsets. We have well over 13,000 mobile application partners. And more than 500,000 clinicians are documenting patient interactions with Nuance. We process over 12 billion customer service transactions with our automated self-service solutions. And our solutions are supported in over 70 languages. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to take a moment and just step back to this slide. I see that some folks are mentioning that they can't hear me via the audio. So I just want to point out for folks that you do need to accept the integrated voice option in order to hear the sound. So I just want to point this out before we get started. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the brief delay here. Okay, hopefully that should do it for folks. I'm going to go back to our presentation. Okay, so now that we've given you some quick insight into who Nuance is as a company, we will now discuss Dragon Naturally Speaking, our speech recognition software for the PC. I know we have probably a mixed audience that has joined us. Some of you have been Dragon users for many years, and some of you are just getting started. As I mentioned, this overview presentation and demonstration are geared toward highlighting some of the key features in Dragon. Again, some of those you may be very familiar with, and others might be entirely new to you. So first, a brief introduction. So Dragon is our speech recognition software for the PC. And the reason I keep saying PC is that we also have another product called Dragon Dictate, which is specific to the Mac platform. Our solutions are not cross-platform, so please be mindful that if you have Dragon Naturally Speaking, that is strictly for the PC, and if you have a Mac platform, you will need to purchase Dragon Dictate separately. So with Dragon, what happens is it recognizes what you say and how you say it so that you can interact with your computer using strictly your voice. You simply say words and watch them appear on the screen 3 times faster than typing with no spelling mistakes. You can dictate or edit documents, work with Gmail or Hotmail, or of course Outlook.com. You can search the web, even post to Facebook or Twitter, and so much more. So who uses Dragon? We really find that a variety of users can benefit from speech recognition, anything from professionals in an office setting to teachers and students, bloggers and writers, moms and dads, truly anyone that wants to capture their thoughts more quickly and easily. And why do they use Dragon? Well, first we find that it's 3 times faster than typing. If you consider that most people type around 30 to 40 words per minute, but you can really speak up to 160 words per minute, you can see where Dragon can come in to help improve your productivity. It's up to 99% accuracy. It learns. If Dragon does make a mistake, you can simply correct the error, and Dragon will learn from these corrections. And it learns from both voice corrections and also keyboard corrections as well. So keep in mind that if you make a correction, you can do it one way or the other. And Dragon's built-in vocabulary is over 300,000 words and growing. One of the things that's new in Dragon 12 is this interactive tutorial. And we've found that this is actually really good for, of course, new users, but also experienced users as well. What this interactive tutorial allows you to do is to take you through some short simulations that allow you to start practicing good dictation, correction, and editing habits. It takes you through some just simple examples that that you can then say for yourself using Dragon, so you can get used to speaking to your computer. I know when I first started using Dragon, the ability to speak to your computer is much different than when you type on your computer. So it does take a little bit of getting used to, and this interactive tutorial goes a long way to helping you with that. The next feature I want to point out is our smart format rules. So with this, Dragon reaches out to you and adapts by detecting your format corrections. And a lot of this has to do specifically with abbreviations and numbers. This way, the dictated text looks the same way every time you want it. So in the example here, if you can see the screenshot, we're talking about the word miles. So if you were to correct the word miles, you would get a correction menu to start. So you would see the choices here. In this case, we've selected option 1, which is the abbreviation, MI period. What will happen is after you go to make that correction, this smart format rule box will pop up and ask you, is this the way you always want to see the word miles listed? If you say yes, that's great. Then Dragon will remember that the next time you say miles, it's always going to spell it out in the abbreviated format. If that's not the way you want to see that abbreviation, you can simply ignore this box and move on. Another new feature in Dragon 12 is faster correction. What we've done is that we've made it more likely for you to see a correct alternative word choice in the correction menu, just allowing you to make corrections a little bit quicker and easier. So in this example, you see the word Mary as being corrected. And before, in versions 10 and 11 of Dragon, you may have seen 2, 3, maybe 4 options to make your correction. And of course, if you didn't see it, you would then be forced to either create the new word or type over it or what have you. In this case, we've given you a much deeper correction list. So you see that this option provides you 10 choices that you can choose from so that you can make your correction faster and move on. Another new feature in Dragon 12 is our enhanced webmail. What we've done is we've provided full text control and some simple commands for the most frequent actions within Gmail and Hotmail in the internet browsers that you see listed here, Internet Explorer, Firefox, and Google Chrome. Specifically, we've allowed you to do certain click options with your voice, such as click inbox, click drafts, and compose new email. All right, so those were a couple of the slides that I wanted to go through with you guys. Today, I do have a couple pieces of information to go through with you at the end. But right now, what I want to do is turn things over to Tom Vane. Again, Tom is one of our senior sales engineers, has been on board with us for a number of years, and has been providing demonstrations of the software for quite some time, so he's very familiar. He's going to take you through some of the features that we've discussed today and probably a little bit more. Tom, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Amy. Can you hear me okay?
I can, thank you.
Perfect, no problem. So I've actually shared out my screen, so you should see my primary monitor here. And at the very, very top of our screen, we have what's called the Dragon bar. That's what we refer to this as. And this is your main interface for interacting with Dragon naturally speaking. This is what's going to provide you your microphone button to turn the microphone on and off so the Dragon can hear you when you're dictating or commanding. And we also have our different file menus throughout the program. Each one is labeled correctly as far as choosing options for your profile or selecting tools to interact with Dragon and setting specific options with Dragon naturally speaking. As Amy mentioned, we have different vocabulary tools to improve your vocabulary or even edit your vocabulary. One of the largest features in here is going to be our vocabulary editor so that we can edit Dragon naturally speaking's vocabulary. Dragon naturally speaking comes with over 300,000 words, which typical person only uses around 5,000 to 7,000 words or knows about 5,000 to 7,000 words. Really well-spoken people will know around 15,000 words, maybe 20,000 words. So Dragon naturally speaking has a lot covered for you, but there may be some words that you may want to use that don't happen to be in the vocabulary, such as specific names or certain places that you want to refer to. And it's just as easy as going into the vocabulary editor and adding those forms. I'll show you a little bit more about the vocabulary editor a little bit later here. The other option we have is to switch between modes in Dragon naturally speaking. By default, Dragon is actually set to a normal mode. Normal mode means that it's going to understand dictation and command. We can also force Dragon to only understand dictation by switching to dictation mode. Same thing with command mode. We can force it to only understand commands and not understand dictation. Or we can switch it to a numbers mode to only understand numbers, or spell mode if you wish to spell out a word, either by using characters, numbers, or letters, numbers, or punctuation. And then we have our audio menu that gives you options to play back your text in your voice, or read text that's on a screen, which is our text feature. And of course, improving recognition of a word or phrase or reading text to even improve the accuracy. So there's a lot to be done as far as your possibilities of improving accuracy. And then last but not least, we have our help menu, which gives you options to improve my accuracy, go through help topics, tips of the day. But an important part is actually what we call the Dragon sidebar. The sidebar is basically our heads-up display, our little sidebar that provides you different commands or the most popular commands for whatever application you're in. For example, if I have Microsoft Word open, open Microsoft Word. You'll see that I actually have Word and WordPerfect commands available to me. These are commands that I can use specifically in this application. If I were to open Excel, it's going to show me Excel commands. Same thing with PowerPoint. If I open up PowerPoint, it's going to show me PowerPoint commands. If I go to my global section here, you'll see that I actually have global commands that work in any application. These will provide you commands as far as correcting misrecognitions, selecting text, editing text, moving the cursor, adding lines and spaces, starting programs, etc., etc. Right? This helps you provide a more hands-free experience with Dragon Naturally Speaking. Now, in order to get this sidebar, you can either do what I did before by going to Help and then choosing Dragon Sidebar, or if you get stuck in a situation where you're not sure what you can say with Dragon Naturally Speaking, simply ask Dragon Naturally Speaking, what can I say? And the sidebar will appear for you. The other option in the Help menu that's brand new to Dragon Naturally Speaking 12 is our interactive tutorial. Our interactive tutorial, again, if you go to your Help menu, choose Interactive Tutorial, this tutorial will actually be completely interactive, meaning that it's not just something that you read through. It's something that you interact with, that you work with. When you first go through, it's going to have you work left to right, going through different basics, dictating, correcting, using the spelling window, editing, and even how to learn more, right? First thing it's going to start off with is enabling or disabling your microphone, right? How do you make it so that Dragon can listen to you? And again, these buttons are completely interactive. So it's nice to work your way through these good dictation habits and learning how to correct text. So this way, you have something to go directly into using the software with. This interactive tutorial opens as soon as you create a profile on Dragon Naturally Speaking. After you get done the training, it opens automatically for you. I recommend, especially for someone who's new to the software, to go through this training, to go through this interactive tutorial, because it does assist with getting you used to talking to your computer and learning these specific habits. And it's just as easy as, again, enabling your microphone first so that Dragon Naturally Speaking hears you, and then saying the script to the right-hand portion here. For example, with practice, comma, I will get used to composing out loud, ... microphone off. And once it's finished, it'll turn your microphone off for you automatically, and you can click Next to proceed to the next step here. It'll guide you again through different commands and punctuation, the correction menu, the spelling window, editing text, and how to learn more. To exit the tutorial, it's just as easy as clicking the red X at the top right, and if it asks you are you sure that you want to exit the tutorial, just click yes. So with that, you have your different techniques about improving accuracy, improving your knowledge of using Dragon Naturally Speaking, but there are some aspects that I want to go over with you, especially in Word and Outlook, because we noticed that Word is going to be one of the most popular word editors out there, along with Outlook being a very popular email program. And we know that with Dragon Naturally Speaking, you can complete those documents and emails with very, very high speed and efficiency. So without further ado, I'm going to start with working within Microsoft Word. Set font size 18 points. Welcome to Dragon Naturally Speaking! Exclamation point. Dragon Naturally Speaking is speech recognition technology that enables you to complete documents and emails faster, comma, with ease, comma, and with less strain, period. Dragon Naturally Speaking is smart and intuitive, comma, and will quickly learn how you speak and the words that you use, period. With minimal training, comma, you can receive up to 99% accuracy with typing speeds of 150 to 160 words per minute, period. Dragon Naturally Speaking also comes with commands that allow you to control your computer, all by using your voice, period, new paragraph. Not only does Dragon Naturally Speaking allow you to, open quote, speak your mind, close quote, but Dragon Naturally Speaking can speak to, all caps, you, exclamation point. With the, open quote, read that, close quote function, comma, you can have Dragon Naturally Speaking read any text that's on your screen, period, new paragraph. First, comma, let's start with command, ellipsis. New paragraph. Then, comma, I will show you how to have text read back to you with Dragon Naturally Speaking, period. Bold Dragon Naturally Speaking. Choose all. Underline 150 through minute. Italicized 99% accuracy. Select Dragon Naturally Speaking. 1. Make it green. Select all. Delete that. Insert Serena text. Select all. Read that.
Hello, my name is Serena. When you need to have text read back to you, I'm your best friend. Highlight the text that you wish to have read back to you by using voice commands or just your mouth. Then you can command Dragon to read that, or click the Read It button in the Dragon bar. When you have troubles reading the screen, whether you have difficulties reading small text or even if you have a reading challenge, such as dyslexia, I can help you better understand what is written on your screen. If you do not appreciate my British accent, you can always ask to speak with my friend, Samantha.
Thank you, Serena.
You are welcome, Tom.
Delete that. Insert 3x2 table. District #1, tab. District #2, tab. Total. Total. All caps that. Enter the row. Move down. $1,238,000. Tab. $1,438,000. Tab. Tab. Sum up the row. Italicize the row. Select all. Copy that. Open Microsoft Outlook. Create new message. Click new email. Maximize window. Eric Ganazzo. Move to subject. Fetch that. Move to subject. Fetch that. Tab 2 times. This week's sales figures. Cap that. Tab. Hi, Eric, comma, new paragraph. Please see this week's sales figures below, period. If you have any questions, comma, please let me know by email, comma, text message, comma, or please feel free to call me, period, new paragraph. Paste it here. New paragraph. Best cap regards, comma, press delete. Send. Minimize window. Microphone off. So as you can see, I can interact between applications. I can perform all the same tasks that I was doing before by hand or with Dragon Naturally Speaking. As I mentioned before, you do have the ability to edit our vocabulary. So if need be, we can go to our vocabulary menu and choose Open Vocabulary Editor. And here, as I mentioned before, we can add words, we can remove words, and we can edit existing words. We could take a word and add the written form, how we want it to show up in the vocabulary. For example, let's say Amy. Well, for this example, we already have that word in our vocabulary. If I'm having problems with the recognition of that word, I can easily add a spoken form or train it to my own voice if I need to. Or if there's a new word, for example, Alcona, here's another word that I've previously added. I can add another spoken form to this word by saying al, cone. It's easy to be very creative when you're creating spoken forms for your words. Once you add the word, all you have to do is press Enter or click the Add button. Then you can choose Train, click Go, and then say the word. Alcona. And then it'll be added to your vocabulary by adding the written form, how you want it written on the screen, spoken form, how you're going to say it, and then it's also trained to your particular voice. And then last but not least, we have two other features of Dragon Naturally Speaking. One is the ability to post to Facebook and Twitter, and the last is actually searching the web by voice. First, I'll show you searching the web by voice. Search Google for snowboards. Post to Facebook. Dragon Naturally Speaking is simply amazing, period. Select period. Exclamation point. Click OK. And it's easy as that. And with that, unless there's anything in particular you'd like to see in addition to this, Amy, I'm going to return the screen sharing back to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Tom. I do have a couple more slides. I know a couple of you have already started to submit questions. Do a few more slides that I want to go through, and then we will certainly try to get to as many of your questions as we possibly can today. So in the beginning, I did mention that there were some training options available to Dragon users. The first one I want to mention is some of our free resources on our Getting Started website. The URL is listed here, and some of the options that you will find include our user workbook, which is over 200 pages and walks you through examples of how to use Dragon. Very similar to what you'll find in the interactive tutorial, but it's much deeper in breadth. The other piece is our user guide as well, which we will find, and all of these are in PDF format that you can usually save to your computer or print out and keep a copy on your desk if needed. The other one is our command cheat sheet, and this highlights some of the commonly used commands within Dragon, things that you saw Tom go through with you today, especially in Outlook and Microsoft Word. The one at the bottom that I'm going to mention now is our monthly newsletter. I think the majority of you folks are already on our newsletter list, but if you're not, please go ahead and sign up. It is a worthwhile piece. It does include some tips and tricks on Dragon, so we usually highlight one a month. In addition, we do have some user case studies, and these are case studies of everyday people who are using Dragon for a variety of issues, and it could be anything from a student who is having difficulty writing or getting their thoughts out in paper, to folks who have repetitive stress injuries or arthritis, those who have accessibility issues or disability issues, and even folks who are using it in an office setting, whether it's a police officer, a lawyer in an office. So you can just kind of see how they're using Dragon and maybe even get some tips and tricks from them. The other option I'll point out in the middle of the screen is our training DVD. This is a paid option, whereas the other ones are certainly free, available to you. The training DVD is approximately about 1 hour of video, and it provides an intro. Just goes a little bit deeper than the interactive tutorial that comes in the software. It goes through all of the menus, the toolbars, some of the key concepts and techniques that you'll need to master speech recognition. The other thing I want to mention here is our technical support and obviously our customer service team as well. If you do require technical support, you can visit this URL or contact them by phone with the number listed here. Our technical support team is really here to help you configure or fix problems that you're encountering when you're installing and using the Dragon software. Our customer service team is available if you're having issues regarding activation or there's something wrong with your serial number, the registration process, and then, of course, any new product or sales inquiries you might have. Within our technical support database, we also have something called our knowledge base, and this is where we have technical support articles that we call tech notes, and you can see the URL here, nuance.custhelp.com. So this is a collection of support articles that we've collected that might help you, and this is searchable. So if you're looking for a particular issue that you're having with Dragon, you may be able to find it in the tech note and then walk you through step by step on how to fix it. In addition to that, we also have user-written posts that are part of our customer forum. And these can include any things from recommendations on how to use Dragon or recommendations for new features to put into Dragon in future releases. And then, of course, tips and tricks that they've come across in using the software on a daily basis. Then the last thing I wanted to point out is what we included in the invitation that brought you here to today's webinar is the special offers for Dragon that we're promoting. So we're offering Dragon Home for $49.99, Dragon Premium bundled with the training DVD for $129.99. Everybody who has attended today will receive a follow-up email providing information on how to access these discounts. And in that email, it will also include a link to today's recording. If for some reason you don't receive that email, we typically try to send that out within 24 hours. You can certainly contact me directly. And my email address is there below. So that was the end of our formal presentation, and I know that some folks are certainly asking questions, and I want to take a moment and try to go through some of those. And just take a look at some of the questions we have here. Oh, Tom, I might kick it back to you. Actually, there were a couple. If you don't mind, I'm going to bring it back to you. I'm passing you the ball right now. I think there were some additional questions in terms of formatting within Word documents, so things like bullets and numbered lists, quotations and parentheses, if you don't mind.
No problem. Give me just a second here to share my screen. Open Microsoft Word. So as far as saying your parentheses and open quotes, whenever you have a left form and a right form of a specific character, you can say open or close. So you wouldn't simply just say quote or quotes or open quote, end quote. You would say open quote or close quote. Open quote, for example, comma, I am quoting what I am saying right now, period, close quote. New paragraph. Open paren, I'm also parenthesizing what I am just saying, period, close paren. Correct practice citing. Delete that. Parenthesis. Microphone off. So that's an example of just saying open quotes, open paren, close paren. As far as formatting different text, you can also say number that, or for example, if I have something selected here, I can say bullet that and apply the bullets. So you can either say number that or bullet that, and depending on which one you use, it will either number it or bullet it. I also saw that someone was asking about using Microsoft Excel. And yes, we will work within Microsoft Excel. For example, open Microsoft Excel. Move to cell Alpha 2, Monday through Friday down. Move to cell Bravo 1, January through December right. Move to cell Bravo 2, 365 down, 479 down, 781 down. Scratch that. 365. Press enter. 781 down. Sum up the row. Sum up the column. Minimize window. Microphone off.
Thanks, Tom. If you don't mind, I'm just going to keep the presenter ball with you just in case there's anything else that comes up as we're going through the questions here.
No
So there were some questions about headsets use with Dragon. So we should state, we should also state too that using Excel is for premium editions and above. Excel is not a capability that we have in our home edition, so just keep that in mind. Headsets, all versions of Dragon come prepackaged with a USB plug-in headset for Dragon. With premium editions and above, you do have a couple of different options. One is a digital voice recorder, so you can record audio files, save them, and drag them into Dragon and have those transcribed automatically for you. In addition, we do have Bluetooth headsets as well that are compatible with premium and above. Another option that is available for all editions across the board are our free remote microphone apps that are available for both iPhone and Android platforms. So essentially what that does is it takes your smartphone and converts it into a remote mic that you can use with Dragon, and you just have to set that up as part of your profile when you're creating that within Dragon. There were some questions about background noise as well. So all of the headsets that we ship with Dragon do filter out background noise as well. Though obviously if you are in a fairly noisy environment, say a manufacturing plant or an airport, outside, it still may pick up some of that ambient noise. Tom, can you show quickly, there's our audio.
Yep. So we have the ability to check your microphone in Dragon Naturally Speaking. You can either go to Audio, check Microphone, or in your Help menu, choose Improve My Access. It will be located in there too. And this is what's going to go through and adjust the sound level, sound gain in Dragon Naturally Speaking to your specific volume. Also, Amy might have been going into this, but in Dragon Naturally Speaking, we also teach something that's called microphone discipline. And essentially that just goes down to making sure you turn your microphone off when you're not dictating so that it doesn't pick up any background noise, because Dragon is actually smart enough to understand your voice over top of background noise and be able to differentiate between the two. So between being able to check your microphone and adjust the volume and the quality of the microphone, which is done automatically by Dragon by following these steps, you can also practice good dictation habits by having microphone discipline, by learning how to turn off the microphone when you're not dictating.
Thanks, Tom.
No problem.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going through the questions here as well. Tom, this might be interesting as well. So we've had a couple of folks that mention they say the word period and want Dragon to actually dictate the word versus making the command. Can you talk a little bit about that at all?
Definitely. So Dragon actually works off of something we call utterances. An utterance is everything that you say in one breath. So as I'm talking to you right now, this is one utterance, but if I talk like this, every single word is its own utterance. Dragon looks for those longer utterances because it looks at the words before and after what you're saying to decipher what form of a word you're trying to say, whether it's a homonym or whether it's a word that is pronounced exactly the same. It's going to, again, look at the words before and after what you're saying to decipher which word you actually meant. For example, in this case, period. If I say that's not the appropriate time period that I'm looking for, it's actually going to put the words time and the word period. If for some reason it does write out the punctuation, whether you paused too long or whether you didn't provide a full utterance or whether it just made a mistake, it's as easy as going back and saying select period or correct period, and it'll provide you the option for the written out form of period instead of the punctuation in the correction menu.
Great, thank you. There are also a couple questions about languages. So we should mention that Dragon does come in a couple of different languages, English obviously, but we also have Spanish, Italian, Dutch, German, Japanese, French. Did I miss any, Tom?
You got them all covered.
All right, got them all. Okay. And the one thing to note is that in some of them, in premium and above, you will have dual language capabilities. So for instance, in French and Spanish, it also comes with English. But the caveat here is that you're actually maintaining two separate profiles, one for dictating in Spanish and one for dictating in English. It's not cross-language, so you can't dictate, starting a document in Spanish and finishing in English. It's for you to either dictate straight in Spanish, you have to save that profile, switch profiles, and then dictate in English. So just remember that as well. Okay, a couple of other things I'm just looking through here. Oh, Tom, I'm not familiar with this as much. So I know we have the, read back and speak that capabilities in Dragon. Is that available in email, or is that just available through like Word documents?
Everywhere. So wherever you can select text, you can tell it to read that. It doesn't have to be something that you dictated. It can be something that was already written. So for example, I use this all the time for email, especially within Outlook and Gmail. I'll just select the text and tell it to read that, and it just takes the text and starts reading through it.
Great, thank you. We did have a couple of questions on that. So essentially what you're saying is if an email comes in, the person does have to open up that email and say highlight the text that they want to have read back to them and then select that option, correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Sure. So in order to actually have that read back ability in an email message, the person would have to open up that email, select or highlight the text that they want read, and then select the read back option.
You got it. So, and they can do that by voice and Dragon through. You can say select first word through last word or first word through last words, and it'll highlight the area, the range that you want, and then you can tell it to read that. So as long as you have the ability to select that text and you can highlight it, then you can just say read that.
Great. Okay, I see a couple questions about people asking about whether these apply to Dragon Dictate for Mac as well. The Dragon Dictate product is slightly different than Dragon Naturally Speaking. With Dragon, we are on version 12 of that system. With the Mac edition, we are only on version 3. So there are some differences in the platform and some of the functionality available as well. Certain features are certainly the same, but things are different. So I actually would encourage you, if you are using Dragon Dictate for Mac, to take a look at the user workbook that we have available for that edition. That is also found up on our website. In fact, if you go to nuance.com/dragon, you should be able to find all of that information. There were a couple questions in regards to our Dragon Medical product. You'll have to forgive me, I'm not familiar as much with the Dragon Medical product that is through our healthcare division. I will certainly take those questions offline with everybody, and I will have someone from our healthcare team follow up and speak with you directly about some of that. There were some questions about profiles within Dragon as well. So according to our end user license agreement, the way it is written is that for premium and professional editions in a office environment, those are licensed per computer, or per voice, I should say. Dragon Home and Dragon Premium, if you're going to use it in a home environment, say for yourself, your kids, that is licensed actually per computer. So you do have the ability to put multiple profiles. So one for your daughter, one for your son, one for your wife, one for your dad, grandpa, grandma. You can have it on one main computer and then one backup computer as well. Okay, so there were also questions related to profiles about deleting profiles without affecting others. Tom, I'll have you help me out with this one, but I believe that if you delete a single profile, one particular profile, it should not have effect on any other profiles that you have, correct, Tom?
Correct. So it's a speaker-dependent solution, meaning every person has their own profile. So, for example, if Amy and I were sharing a computer, I would have my own profile and Amy would have her own profile. So with that said, I can delete my own profile without it deleting Amy's profile. It's as simple as go into your profile menu, and there's an option in the profile menu to manage user profiles. And that's exactly what you're able to do within this section, is select a profile and manage it, either delete it or add an audio source to it. But the main point is they're separate, so you won't have to worry about collaborating between the two or deleting somebody else's profile, as long as you don't go out of your way to actually delete their profile.
Great, thanks, Tom. Here's actually an interesting question, and Tom, wondering if you can show where this is. So there's a question about, is there a way to permanently set the priority of naturally speaking.exe to high, specifically for Windows 7? So I know in version 12, in I think it's the user settings, Tom, right, you can set it so that Dragon takes priority, and there are certain things to it. I'm sorry, I'm not technically saying this correctly.
Yeah, well, actually, with any process, you can do that. If you're going through Windows Task Manager, it's not going to be a setting physically within our application. But if you go through Windows Task Manager, you can go to your processes, choose natspeak.exe, and choose Set Priority. And you can choose either real-time, high, above normal. Basically, choose among whatever priority you wish.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Okay, so there are, actually this would be great. There were a couple of questions about using all caps versus lower caps, and can you give a voice command to change something that is in all caps and change the case of that?
That's simple. So we actually have a lot of different commands for capitalization. If you're trying to fix capitalization after it's been written, you can say all caps that or cap that. One thing that I actually showed in my demonstration here is when I was dictating the subject line of the email I was writing, I wrote out this week's sales figures, but I wrote it in lowercase. It's not a huge deal because all I have to do is tell Dragon to cap that. Cap that being the last thing that I just said. So it just went back and capitalized it like a title. If I said all caps that, it's going to capitalize every single letter in that. If I want to preempt capitalization by basically I haven't dictated something yet, but it's the next word or words that I want to say, or I want either all capitalized or capitalized, I either say cap before the word or words for it to be capitalized like a title, or I can say all caps and then the word. Or if I just want to simply turn capitalization on or all caps on, I can use that caps on or all caps on and then dictate what I want to dictate. And then when I'm done with that, I can say all caps off or just caps off. So basically, all caps is going to be all capitalization, all the letters are going to be capitalized. Or if I just use cap alone, not all, just cap, will actually write out just like a title. Just capitalize the first letter in each word.
Great, thank you. So there are also some questions about, once you've established your profile in one PC, is there an easy way to transfer that to, say, a second PC that you're going to be using Dragon on as well? Tom, I want to make sure that I get this correct. So for Premium and Pro, I know that you do have the ability to export that profile to, say, a USB thumb drive and then transfer it to the new system. Is that capability available in the Home Edition as well?
I believe it is. If
Okay.
not, we have ways to work around that. It may not be directly within the UI. I believe that's built into all editions. Because if you need to back up your profile, right, you've gone, meaning you don't want to have to lose that. We wouldn't take that ability away from you. So it's easy as going to your profile menu, choosing Manage User Profile, and then select the profile you wish to back up or export. And then there's advanced options there that allow you to import, export, etc. So on the machine that you do have the profile, just choose export. You can export it to a thumb drive, or let's say you're in an office environment where there's a shared drive or a network drive. You can save it there, anywhere that you want to save it. And at that point, put it in your new machine or your different machine, and then you'll follow the same steps, but go to import instead, and then just select where your profile is, and it'll copy it to the right location for you.
Great, thank you for expanding on that. There was a question about use of Dragon with PowerPoint. So with Premium and Professional, yes, you can use Dragon within PowerPoint as well. So again, for Home Editions, for the Home Edition of Dragon, it is strictly for Microsoft Word. Home has Open Office as well. Tom, is that correct?
Yes, Word, Open Office, and Corel WordPerfect. The
Okay.
Word editors, the main Word editors.
The main Word editors, okay. And then obviously Outlook for, Mail and Gmail and Hotmail capabilities as well, as we mentioned earlier. When you get into the Premium and Pro editions, that's when we add the ability to use Dragon within Excel and PowerPoint in addition to Word. So wanted to mention that as well. I know there were some questions about using Dragon in other systems. So, excuse me, I know we've mentioned a couple of times that Dragon works within any Windows-based application to the most degree, certainly for dictation capabilities. So really within any system, anytime you have a blinking cursor, you should be able to dictate text within those parameters. With some applications, what you may find is what we call the command and control capability, and that's where you use voice commands for things like open a document, close a document, bold this, italicize, underline, that kind of, change the color, change the font size. In certain applications, that's the piece where you might find that there is either limited ability or no ability. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Okay, just going back through some of the questions here, and also want to be cognizant of everybody's time too. If there is a question that we did not get to today, we certainly will ensure that somebody follows up with you separately, especially if you are having a technical issue. Sorry, folks, just give me 1 second. I'm just going through this as well. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, we do have a student-teacher edition of Dragon. One of the things that we do say in using Dragon with students is try to keep it with somebody probably no younger than in the 3rd grade. One of the reasons for that is really their voice capabilities within Dragon. Some of the higher voices, especially, and also due to maybe a little bit of the stumbling or things like that at that age level in their reading and writing capabilities. They may have some issues in setting up their profile and may get frustrated with Dragon. But certainly for some older students, we definitely find that this is a helpful program for them, especially if they do have any sort of learning disability, like dyslexia, for example. We find that using Dragon just to get their thoughts down on the screen and then have the ability to go back and look more for grammar and sentence structure and things like that. That's when they can use the keyboard to make any corrections as necessary. But really just getting their thoughts down on paper kind of as their thoughts flow is really the best use of Dragon that we have found. And we have a number of cases where both parents and students have come back to us and told us what a difference it has made in their child's life. And we've also had teachers that have said the same. There were also some questions about using Dragon for things like blogging or cookbooks or oral histories. We do have case studies available on our website. Again, if you go to nuance.com/dragon, we do have a number of case studies where folks have used it simply for those pieces. Keep in mind, if you're doing an oral history where you are doing recordings of a third-party voice, keep in mind that those will not be automatically transcribed for you. One of the ways that you can get around that is if you listen to the recording while you have your profile open with Dragon and the headset on, you can listen to the recording and speak it back through your voice into Dragon. It's one of the things that we call, parroting with Dragon. So that is an option available to you as well. And I highly recommend taking a look at some of the user case studies that we have that specifically talk about that area. Okay, I think we've covered a majority of the questions. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for spending the last hour with us. I hope the presentation gave you a little bit of insight into Dragon 12, and Tom's demonstration gave you some insight into those capabilities and how you can be using Dragon in your everyday life. As I mentioned, today's presentation was recorded. You will get access to that hopefully within the next 24 hours. As well as links to the 2 special offers that we are providing you today. If we didn't get to your question, I do have a full transcript of all the questions, and we will certainly follow up with you offline. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, and that ends our presentation.